Good evening, folks. Thank you for coming this evening. Hopefully everybody can hear me all the way in the back. And I know the two middle TVs are not working. I apologize for that, but I am going to refer to some PowerPoint, some website video as I go through our this evening. So hopefully you can see at least one of the TVs or the screen. First thing I'd like to do, well, obviously I'd like to introduce myself for those of you who are new. My name is Phil Levine. I'm the Assistant Principal and Athletic Director here. Can I see a show of hands of how many new parents that we have? This is your first experience with your son or daughter here at the high school, not middle school. So I can see, oh, great. Returning parents? Okay. Hopefully these will hang on for the rest of the night. Again, I thank you for coming. This is my 5th year here at Lebanon, excuse me, my 6th year. I've been here 5 years as the athletic director. And I think I've learned a lot about Lebanon High School and the Lebanon community. It's a very exciting time with the renovation and everything that's going on, and the new facilities and updated facilities that we have. I feel confident that my experience, not only these last 5 years, but my 20 years in education, reached a milestone this year at 20, and my 14 years as an athletic administrator, that the information I'm going to give you tonight will help you and your son or daughter be successful and have an outstanding experience in our Lebanon High School athletic program. I also have learned, as I mention all the time, in order for the parents to enjoy this time, they need to get involved. And later on this evening, you'll meet our booster president and have the opportunity to learn about several ways that you as a parent can get involved so you can enjoy your son or daughter's experience, whether it's your first year involved in athletics or your last year as the senior of your son or daughter. At some point before the official season begins, because we do have parents in here that probably are going to have student athletes participating in the winter and spring and do not have one in the fall, but at some point the coaches will have individual parent meetings. And during that time they'll talk with you about the particular rules, policies, and procedures for that sport. Tonight I'm just going to give you some philosophy and some overviews on all of the athletic programs here, and I'll leave those details up to the coaches in their individual meetings. I want you to please leave tonight feeling comfortable that all your answers to your questions have been taken care of. If not, feel free to contact me later on at any point, any time, and you should have your information in the packet on how to do that. Kind of want to do it a little bit backwards tonight. With a new age of technology, I want to start this evening. Well, before I do that, I almost forgot. I want to introduce my assistant, Karen Rook, who's really the bread and butter of the athletic office. Most of you, when you call in, you'll get her on the phone first and thank her for being here tonight and helping us with the PowerPoint and helping us put the packets together. But really, our programs wouldn't be as successful if it wasn't for Karen in the athletic office. So I really do thank Karen, and she's to my right. So yeah, you give her a big applause. Almost forgot you. Oh man, that would have been fun tomorrow. So what I'd like to do first is I want to show you the website, because I'm going to refer to some things tonight that in order to save paper that I've actually put on the website. So when I say this item is on the website, you can go here and look at it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So our website is LebanonAthletics.com. You can get to it 2 ways. You can type in LebanonAthletics.com. There it is. It's these new Macs. We're still getting used to the Macs instead of the PCs. But anyway, you can get to it through LebanonAthletics.com directly, or you can go on the Lebanon School Community website and click on Athletics under the high school page, and it'll also link and take you there. I just want to show you real briefly a couple things. Once you get to the site, this is the home page. There's obviously pictures and all sorts of things on it, but I wanted you to look at the tabs, and I know it may be hard for some individuals to see, but obviously you have the home tab. But the next tab over is very important. It says Tiger HQ, and it's basically the headquarters page for information. And there's a lot, you really can't see because she'd have to scroll up, but there's a lot of information. And you can see on that, under HQ, our trainer and doctors that you'll get to meet a little bit later on this evening. Their information is there. We have a strength and conditioning coordinator that I'll tell you about. His information is there. There's things about lightning, our policy about supplements, energy drinks. All that information is on there. So when I say tonight, as I go through my information and say you can find this article under the HQ of the website, you guys know what I'm talking about. In addition to the HQ area, we have the fall sports, the winter sports, and the spring sports. That is their site for their sport, where they can post their information, where you can find those individual schedules and rosters under their sport. If you keep going down, I'm sorry. Okay, well, she went to football, and if you look at football, that's their page. If you scroll over to where it says schedules and rosters, and you click on varsity schedule, you will see that their schedule will appear. And you can see that the schedule's there. So you have the opportunity to look at individual sports schedules, rosters, and then if there's any information. Now, some of your sports, your coaches will have some different additional sites and things to go to. For example, football uses a program called Huddle for Film. I think girls basketball uses it. So there's some other sites and things that you'll need to go to besides our website. But that information is right there. So can we go back? The booster tab is the next tab, and there'll be a lot of information on our boosters. And then as you head on over to the next tab, which is my forms, all our forms are there that are required for the goal card, physical, the concussion form, all the forms that you need to sign if you want to print them out and turn them in. We're working on next year, all our forms, we hope, with our fingers crossed, will be online. And you'll get to fill them out online, and they'll be automatically sent to us, and we'll have no paper anymore. And that should be working for next year, possibly for the winter and spring, but definitely by next year. And the last tab is before the Spirit one. The last one is the Spirit Store. There's one under there that says View Monthly Calendar, and I think this one's extremely important and the one that most of you will want to look at. If you click on View Monthly Calendar, it gives you each month every athletic event during that month that's taking place, whether it's home or away, on the calendar. It also has our booster meetings and some other meetings on that calendar. You can switch the months at the top right corner. You can go forward a month or back a month. This is the most updated schedule that we have, day to day. So sometimes we'll have those cards printed and changes happen. You want to check, if there's one schedule you want to check, this is it. And the reason is because it's hooked to our program that we use, not the website, that we use daily to change schedules. And when we change that program, this calendar changes automatically. So this, if you really want to know the schedule, where to go, click on the home site, go to view calendar, monthly calendar, the tab, and you'll get our calendar. And again, you can jump ahead. So if you wanted to see what we have for the winter and spring sports as scheduled already, you can click ahead. Now, the winter and spring are not finalized, I'm going to tell you that right now, but what we have so far is on the calendar. The last thing I want to show, and then I want to move on, because you guys can play with the website if you'd like. In the top left corner, you see an email, a Facebook, and a Twitter account. If you click on that mailbox at the very top where it's email, you can register your email address to get updates daily, and it's basically a newsletter that comes to your mail. It's not like the Tiger Pride newsletter that comes monthly. It's if a change is made to the website, you would get an email and it would state what's new on the website. So if we didn't do anything to the website today, you would receive no email. If we go on there and put a football article or a basketball article or a swim article and a wrestling article, or we change pictures, you're going to receive an email at the end of the day that says the following updates have been made to the website. And it'll tell you, it won't give you the whole article, but it'll give you a little summary of what was changed on the website. So you can register to do that. It doesn't cost you anything if you have an email and you want to receive updates from the website. There's an alert button that we're using right now where for cancellations of practices and things, you would see an alert go across the screen right underneath the big slide picture if we had to cancel something. And we're on it daily. But the most important thing tonight, you can go to the website, play around with it. Your coaches will probably talk to your son or daughters a little bit more. The most important thing tonight is I'm going to give you some information, and I wanted you to know where you can find it because I wanted to save some paper, and I didn't want to put it all in the packet and have the packet so thick. The last thing unrelated to our website, as Karen can go back to the PowerPoint, is we have a Twitter address. So if you'd like to follow us, the only two people that can post something on that Twitter is Karen and myself. It's at Lebanon Tigers. We try to post important information and then game updates the best we can. We're not at every game, but the events we are at, we try to post. So if you'd like to follow us, we have over 700 followers, a lot of alumni out there. Feel free to go to twitter.com and register. We're at Lebanon Tigers. Now, for the information. I'm going to hold on to this because leaning over is kind of crazy. See if you can get back again. There you go. Then click on where we're at. There you go. I want to begin this evening by talking about coaches' expectations. In your handout, the packet that you received, I did print this page. We have a coaching code of ethics. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it says the function of the coach is to educate students through participation in interscholastic competition. Interscholastic programs should be designed to enhance academic achievement and should never interfere with opportunities for academic success. Each student athlete should be treated as though he or she were the coach's own, and his or her welfare should be utmost at all times. Accordingly, the following guidelines have been adopted, and I'm not going to read the rest. Gives you an idea. This is what we follow. Everything that I'm going to tell you tonight, we've gone over in coaches meeting with our coaches. There should be no information that you hear this evening that the coaches aren't already aware of. The rest of the code further details the coach's responsibilities and understanding that they have a tremendous influence on your son or daughter's lives. In addition, the coaches need to get to know their athletes. They need to have a full understanding of not only their athletic skills, but their personalities, and how to motivate them and how to criticize them. All of our head coaches already have the following understanding of what today's athlete in general brings to the program. We also have an understanding in our coaches on why high school sports is critical to the academic and overall success of the student athlete. On the website, under HQ, there's a great article called A Case for High School Sports. And it's an article, there's also an article called Coaching Today's Athlete. I just want to quickly summarize this because coaching today's athlete is not the same when you all were student athletes in high school. I think some of you realize that. The article basically talks about the millennium generation. That's from 1982 to 1997. And there's 7 areas that it addresses. And it's talking about the student athlete today. The student athlete today, area number 1, believes they're special. Students feel a sense of entitlement because they have always been told they're good or great. The second area they talk about is shelter. Student athletes have been protected from birth as a result, not being able to overcome adversity or learn how to adapt. They don't know how to handle criticism. The student athlete of today that we deal with is confidence. They're very confident today in their ability. However, they forget success sometimes doesn't come without hard work. The student athlete, number 4, is always team-oriented. They're texting, emailing, very sociable today. They're conventional. The student the student actually has closer ties with their parents and embraces the values of their parents. They feel the pressure. Their students increase competitiveness in the environment, the jobs, grades, school admission. Stakes are high now for these student athletes. And the last one, students are more focused on achievement, especially individual achievement. So it's a starting point for our coaches when we read articles like this, when we see the research on understanding what a student athlete of today believes when we're dealing with them. And it helps to communicate. Next, coach's expectation is the philosophy that multiple sport participation is a good thing. Mostly because research shows that it will improve health and wellness and athletic performance. We won't promote specialization here at Lebanon High School. Specialization, the research shows, one of the main reasons schools are losing multiple sport athletes. Kids are getting more involved in clubs and trying to specialize. The number one reason why student athletes participate in athletics is to have fun. That's the number one reason. It's not to get big, not to lose weight. It's to have fun. So while you're specializing, some of the other concerns and some of the other articles that I'll mention here in a second, they talk about burnout. You specialize, the tendency when they reach high school is to want to quit because they've been playing the sport their entire lives. So we have to be careful about burnout, making sure they're still having fun. And then those articles, Burnout to Many Young Athletes and Preventing Burnout, are on the HQ website. Injuries. If you're playing the same sport all year long, working the same muscles in your body, prone to more injuries. So research shows that more sports participation, the more successful students will have in the classroom. So we promote multiple sports participation. We're a small school. It's the only way we can survive with 1,000 kids. It's the advantage with your son being here or your daughter at Lebanon High School because they have the opportunity to participate. We hardly ever cut in our programs. We don't have a lot of freshman programs. We started at JV and varsity level. So when your son or daughter is attending Lebanon, they have the opportunity to participate one way or another. That's a 4-hour meeting that I can hold on multiple sport participation in 30 seconds, less than a minute. If you'd like to learn more about it and what the research shows, under the HQ, I have article touting the benefit of multiple sport participation, playing multiple sports, and promote multiple sport options to your athletes. So I suggest if you're interested in that area, please take a look at it and read that information. The next one I've had some discussion with some individuals about, but I truly believe in this, and I want to make sure that everybody understands and I clarify what I'm saying. Our coaches, and if you ask every AE in the state, the coach's job is not to get your son or daughter a college scholarship. That is not their job. That is not why they're here. They will assist in that process. They will help you if your student wants to go on and play in college, but they're not here to get them a scholarship. That's not what their main goal is. It starts at the home with you as the parent and the student, having the conversation, applying in your junior year online to the NCAA Eligibility Center or the NAIA Eligibility Center. It starts with you discussing with your son or daughter, what are 5 schools that we'd like to go to for academic first, athletics second. In my 20 years, all of my students that have had the opportunity to go on and play at college at the next level, whatever sport it might be, and they chose the school for the sport instead of for academics or for the environment, never made it through their first year. And that's the truth, I'm not lying to you. So you have to be extremely careful when you're looking at the school and trying to select the school and go on. But they will assist you, whether it's film, whether it's calling coaches, but it's not here to say, hey coach, my kid wants a scholarship, where do you think we should start? Because the coach is going to say, well, let's be realistic, let's talk about some things. What schools interest you? What do you want to do after your athletic career ends at some point? And let's figure it out. Let's work that way. Okay? As I mentioned, you do need to apply if you're interested in playing at Division I or II levels at NCAA Eligibility Center. I can answer questions about that another time. We can do a whole meeting on that, but the counselors have that information as well. Research shows that the academic scholarship to athletic scholarship is 70-1. Your child is more likely to get an academic scholarship than they are an athletic scholarship. And that's the truth. That's what we found out here. That's why we focus on academic achievement. We have our 3.3 GPA Student Athletes Achieving Excellent Academic Individual Award, and we have the Team Award. Over half of our 400 athletes received this award last year, and some 2 or 3 times. So we're really proud of those individuals. And if you've attended the honor nights that happen in May, some of you that have an upperclassmen, there's over 100 scholarships given out on that honors night in May. And I would say between 80 and 90 of those students receiving those scholarships are student athletes, and they're not athletic related. So the proof's in the pudding in May when you come and watch those. So I wanted you to have that information. The other piece of it goes back to specialization. When you start spending all that money to play on all those teams and to travel everywhere, I'm not saying you don't have to. There's some great experience in travel ball, whatever the sport may be. But you start adding up the dollars that you spend, and then your son or daughter goes on to college, sometimes you would have had the first 2 years of college paid for when they're specializing and going on all those other activities, and you didn't get a scholarship. So now you're ended up paying for 6 years of college instead of 4 years or 5 years. So just think about that. Gives you some things to think about. There is some articles on HQ, Be Realistic About Your Child's Ability, and you can take the time to read that. The coach's job, so we say if they're not here to get a scholarship, what are they here to do? Well, they want to improve the individual from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. They want to teach them to be better citizens. They want the athletes to have fun, represent Lebanon with class, develop discipline, commitment, dedication to sport, positive sportsmanship and behavior, time management skills, and leadership skills. That's what they're here to do. Everybody wants to win, but we understand it's not the most important thing. If we do the right things and pay attention to detail, which is our major philosophy here, I truly believe that the winning will take care of itself. That's what we believe. Coaches will be positive in their instruction, but will also criticize when necessary. The best coaches understand that they can ultimately help student athletes by balancing praise with constructive criticism and by challenging them to be the best, making them earn their praise. The irony of this situation is that most negative aspects of high school sports experiences on a regular basis today is the criticism directed at the coaches by the very people who expect them to be positive with their students. In the past, parents would direct their sons or daughters to worry about their own mistakes and weaknesses rather than criticize the coach. I'm not sure that's the case today with my experience, and I'm not sure that's what we see. And I must tell you, your son or daughter will face adversity. They even may fail. Okay? As a parent, you need to let them take responsibility for their actions. Figure out how to solve the problem. Running to my office or running to the coach's office, unless it's something that bodily harmed or verbally abused or did something to your kid, is not helping your student athlete. You need to let them try to handle the situation first. We want to be able to see them work through it. We want to teach them how to do that. So when they move on to college and you're not there to help them, they'll be strong enough to try to handle the situation themselves. So please do that. If the situation is not resolved, don't think about non-contacting the coach for fear of repercussions. That's a big perception out there. Well, I'm not going to talk to the coach till the end of the season, or I'm going to wait because they may lose their starting position or they may not get to play. I can tell you, if that happens, then you need to get with me right away, because I will deal with that coach. So please, don't not reach out to the coach or to myself, the coach first, if the situation doesn't get resolved. And I would say other than playing time, because playing time is something that's really non-negotiable. Our coaches will have meetings, hopefully preseason, and at the end of the season discuss strengths, weaknesses, and where your son or daughter fits in the program. You're welcome to disagree, and there may be some disagreement, but you need to walk away from there understanding where the coach sees you. And we hire the coach, and we expect them to make those decisions correctly, without favoritism. And that's another big thing I've heard in the last 6 years, favoritism. Folks, I'm here to tell you there's favoritism. And there is. And what do I mean by that? The student athletes that do the right things, practice hard, are in the classroom, display good behavior, they're going to receive positive feedback and appropriate playing time. That's the way it works. Okay? And that's the favoritism that you'll see happen. So they do want to be fair and consistent when dealing with your son and daughter as much as possible. Professionalism. The coaches will be professional when dealing with your son and daughter, and I just mentioned it, your son and daughter will know exactly their role and where they fit in the program. You as well need to have this information. Sometimes the message your son or daughter hears does not always get home and is translated to the parent the same way. I ask that you contact the coach before jumping to conclusions. I have informed our coaches how important it is to make sure the information received at home is accurate. Make sure you have an email address, phone number, or some form of communication to get in touch with those coaches. There's a lot of do's and don'ts when communicating with coaches and athletic directors on that website. Under HQ, I have parent and coach communication. You will find all the coaches' email addresses that are in your packet, but you'll also find that information on the website. So you can look that over. I do want to mention we have a 24-hour rule. What that means is basically if you have a situation and you want to talk to the coach, we ask that you please wait. The appropriate time is not after a game that they just lost and they're upset and you're going to come to the fence and talk to them about why your son or daughter didn't play. Somebody in that conversation is going to say something that they're going to regret, whether it's you or whether it's the coach. Best thing to do is to go home, calm down, pick up the phone, make an appointment to meet with the coach next day or talk to him or send him an email. But wait 24 hours after the situation occurs that upsets you before you try to get in touch with the coach so calmer heads can prevail. And that's our 24-hour rule. The other thing, and the last thing before I introduce our doctors, is our coaches want to provide a safe environment. We want to make sure safety comes first. This year, because of the one-on-one computers, we have a new computer policy, and some of you may not have seen it. It was added. It's an athletic computer policy, and it's in your packet, but it was added to all the rules and policies for the school, and essentially, without reading to you, it says the student athletes should not have their computers at practices or at games, and the only exception is if the coach asks them to bring it to the game or the practice, because there are times where they're going to watch films and they're going to need their computers, or they may be doing homework, and the coach has made arrangements to make sure the security of those computers is taken into consideration. So that is our rule. They should be leaving them in their lockers, or they should be leaving them at home if they had an opportunity to go home. We try not to put them in the cars because of the heat and the things that could occur that would mess up the computers. But hopefully they can get them home or leave them in their lockers. Every student athlete in a sport has a whole locker, and we're working this year on making sure they have a locker in the PE room or the weight training room. Fall athletes, next week the PE students have the lockers, and I am getting the empty lockers from the PE teachers, and we will distribute to those student athletes that are not in PE and are not in weight training. So everybody will have a locker down here in the gym area, and everybody will have a hall locker. The building will be open, so if they come back from an event and they left their computer upstairs, they will be able to go get it. We are asking them, though, to please put the computers, if possible, down here in the PE section, in those lockers, and not in the hall. But if they have too much in one locker or the other, and they have it in the hall, they'll be able to do that. We have no gates locking the building. Okay, as far as the hallways, like some other schools have. We have cameras everywhere. Cameras are everywhere in the new complex. So we feel comfortable that if something was to happen in the hallway or something inappropriate was going to be done, we would catch it on camera. I'm telling you as a parent, and some of you are students in here, and we've informed the coaches to tell the student athletes, there's no place to hide anymore in this building, with the exception of like a bathroom, obviously. But there's no place to hide. We have cameras everywhere. So we're confident that if something should happen, we would have it on camera. But anyway, safety is our main thing, and the new computer policy for athletics, we're new to this, just like the students are, We've done our homework as far as researching other schools and what their student athletes do with computers, and we're going to start off with this policy and see how it goes. I've talked a little bit, I'll come back and talk to you some more, but at this time, I'm very excited for the direction that our training program is going in our doctor program. We've been real fortunate this year to be able to team up with IU and Methodist Sports to provide us with our new certified athletic trainer and our doctors. And I'm not going to take their thunder, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves and talk to you a little bit. But again, we're really excited, and I don't mean to step on two toes, but one of the gentlemen, Dr. Reddick from Methodist Sports, was with Lebanon for a long time, and he kind of moved on, and now he's coming back. So I know he's excited to be back, and we're excited to have him back, as well as our other two gentlemen. So first, I'm going to introduce our new certified athletic trainer. His name is Brett Spack, and I'll let him say a few words to you.
Hi, my name is Brett Spack. I'm 22. I'm a little young, but so don't let that fool you. I graduated from Manchester College, or actually Manchester University now, if you were familiar with that. I want you guys all to know that your kids their health is my main concern. If I feel like they can't play, I'm going to take that into consideration, because we're looking forward, the next 15 years, not one game, and just to break it down. I'm excited to be here. Everybody's been extremely welcoming to me, and I'm excited to be a part of the Lebanon community for the next couple of years. Thank you. And President.
Hi, my name is Robert Klitzman. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, work with IU Health. I'm going to be working very closely with Brett and with Dr. Reddick. Take care of your son and daughter. Just like Brett said, their health is our main concern. Hopefully we'll get to meet a lot of you just socially, and it won't be an injury situation, but I want you to rest assured that if there is an injury, we're going to take as good care of your son or daughter as we can. And that'll pass one away.
Thanks, Reddick. I'm an orthopedic surgeon from Indianapolis with Methodist Sports Medicine, and as Phil alluded to, I was here, I think it was 03 through 09, and really privileged to be back here at Lebanon High School. And Phil gave me a tour of the facilities past Saturday, and it's just unbelievable what he and his staff have done with the school. I hadn't seen it in about 3 or 4 years. They've done some amazing things here, certainly. So as Brett introduced himself, he's really the kind of the workhorse. He does all the work, and we kind of help. Rob and I will help him, guide treatment, whether it's on the field or if need be off the field. And for on-field coverage, as Rob alluded to, the key is safety for your son and daughter. And so not only is safety of paramount importance, but also communication. So communication is important among the coaches, training staff, and particularly the parents. So I want to open up the doors that you can approach any of us anytime with regard to your son or daughter, whether it's on the field or whether we're doing injury checks. And I've always made it a point that if it's on the basketball court or on the football field, that if your son or daughter is injured, that we try to communicate that injury to you, whether it's after the injury stabilizes, properly assessed, come over to you on the sideline, or you come down from the stands, and it's an open door policy. So as we talked about before, Brett is sort of the first line treatment. You're going to see a lot of him on the field, and then you'll be seeing a lot of Rob and myself. Hopefully we'll be on the sidelines most of the time. And then also, I wanted to let you know that we'll have 2 other physicians most of the time. One of whom is Aaron Waters. He's a pediatrician, and he's in his last year of training. So he'll be really helpful for head injuries, heat illness, and sort of medical issues. And then also Jason Waters, who happens to be his brother, is in his final year of orthopedic surgery training. So we have 3 orthopedists on the sideline for most of the games. But certainly extremely excited about this year. Rob and I will be having injury checks just about every Tuesday, probably 3 to 4, I think, is sort of what we decided on. So you guys are welcome to. We always encourage parents to come with their son or daughter if they're coming in to see us. You're more than welcome to do so. And with that, we're all pretty excited about the upcoming year. And as Rob said, hopefully it's just meet you in a social setting. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I told them they could leave, they didn't have to stay, but before they leave, I do want to tell you that they didn't really give you their background and their history. We are so fortunate to have these gentlemen with us, whether it's the Chicago Bulls, the Cubs, the Colts. These guys have worked with all the professional athletes. Their bios, their background, their education is on that HQ website. It'll be in the fall sports program. I'm extremely excited to have them. They all specialize too. They're orthopedic surgeons in kind of different areas. So we've got the whole body covered from the knee, the shoulders to the hands. So we're real fortunate, and I appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward to working with them this year. And I thank those guys for taking the opportunity to come here tonight. And what I'm really excited about too is what Dr. Reddick mentioned, the injury checkups once a week, where one of them will be out here. Right now they're meeting in the clinic. Our new training room will be done at the end of October before the fall sports starts. So we kind of have a makeshift training room. Still has all the supplies and everything Brett needs when it's in one of our locker rooms. But once they get the new training room up and running, it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have like our own little hospital here, and we'll be able to get the kids back involved in the programs, those that are injured quicker, sooner, and also those that are doing rehabilitation with our new weight room, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So thanks, guys. You're welcome to leave if you want. You don't have to stay. It's up to you guys. I know Brett has to get back out of practice. A couple other pieces of information kind of related to the trainer that I wanted you to have. So you know where our coaches are and how they deal with these situations. The IHSAA, our Indiana High School Athletic Association, follows the National High School Federation guidelines as far as heat. We have been provided with heat information from them. It's a guideline chart on how to hydrate our student athletes, when we should not practice outside, when we should take shoulder pads off, helmets off, things like that, which all of our coaches are familiar with. We're real fortunate there hasn't been the hot fall that we had last year, so things are okay so far. We also have a lightning policy, which again, the IHSA follows and the Federation follows, and that lightning policy we kind of tweaked and pulled together, so we kind of made it our own Lebanon Community School Corporation policy. And all these are online, again, under HQ. Essentially, the lightning policy, without reading it to you, says that there's a 30-minute waiting period after the last flash bang, meaning lightning and thunder. So we follow those guidelines, but most of the time, the game manager at the site or the umpires will take care of that. But that doesn't prevent a coach and I have told them that, a coach, if they feel the situation is dangerous and they're not calling the game, then they're welcome to pull their kids off the field, and I will take care of that the next day, especially if we're at an away event. Concussion, extremely important. It's been a hot topic over the last several years, and we have new law in Indiana, and all the concussion information is under the HQ. Most of you should have read it because you've signed the form to get your gold card, at least the fall athletes, explaining about the concussion policy and the do's and don'ts and the signs and symptoms. By law, we are required to make sure you understand the signs and symptoms of concussion. That's why we put the heads-up fact sheet for student athletes and for parents in your packet. So please make sure you look that over. That is one area that we take very seriously. We reduced the number of concussions over the years that we've had, but we've also done a much better job providing the impact test. We're doing that right now with our football players. So we have a baseline of the brain for our student athletes. So if something should happen, we can determine to the extent of the damage there and how long they have to sit out, when they'll be able to get back. So we're excited, and that has been provided to us, those testing free of cost from the initial test from IU and Methodist Sports. So we appreciate them helping us deal with concussions. Two other things, energy drinks. I want to talk to you a little bit about energy drinks. they're in the athletic handbook. We have a policy, and basically we don't want to see energy drinks around here at Lebanon High School with our student athletes. An energy drink is a diuretic. It's loaded with caffeine. It actually dehydrates our student athletes. It doesn't provide them energy like you hear on TV. Oh, I can go. So if we're tired at practice and we've been sweating and we pound an energy drink, we just added to our dehydration levels, and it could cause some serious problems. So we decided, if you want to drink energy drinks, that's your prerogative, but you're going to do them not on school grounds as far as student athletes go. So there is a ton of information that I posted on the website, even a situation, an article about a teen girl who dies of caffeine toxicity after just drinking 2 energy drinks during a practice. So you can read that article. But that's basically our rule, and if you want to read more about our policy, it's in the handbook. Supplements, huge topic right now. A lot of programs out there, whether it's the Shake Mix, whether it's Advocare, whether it's, Shackley, whatever it may be. There's a lot of talk about supplements and using supplements. And our rule here, it's in the athletic handbook, is we do not promote supplement use. If your son or daughter would like to use supplements, okay, they can do that again on their own. That's your decision. My recommendation for you is what I heard years and years ago, and I still stand by to this day. If your son or daughter wants to use supplements, you take that supplement to your family physician and you show them and you say, can I take this supplement? And if your family physician gives you permission, you're welcome to take the supplement. But not here at school, that's on your own. We're not going to have kids pouring creatine in a water bottle and drinking it in our weight room. A couple of reasons. Number one, we're not going to be responsible for what happens by someone. If we recommend a supplement to you, and your son or daughter takes it, and let's say they're on some other medication, and there's a reaction, because all these supplements, most of them are not FDA approved, so you really don't know what you're putting in your body. So you need to check that out. So you have a reaction there, and we're liable because we promoted that supplement. So we say, if you're interested in doing supplements, and there are probably some good protein shakes and drinks and things like that, we'll promote chocolate milk and gummy bears and some of these other nutritional things that maybe some of you haven't heard. But when it comes to the actual supplement that you can purchase at GNC that's supposed to put muscle on you, you need to find that out for yourself. You need to make sure your family physician approves that. Because we don't want to be responsible for recommending something that could have a huge impact or huge effect on you. So that's our stance on supplements. Again, on the side, not in school. Just a few things that are basically goal-related, a little bit more information for you that our coaches and I have talked about. We want to increase your participation in our number of sports programs. We'd like to have freshman programs everywhere. We want the students to get involved, and obviously because we know the studies show if they're involved in the sports programs or any activity, that their grades are going to improve and they're going to be successful academically. So that's a huge goal of ours and something that we continue to do. Unfortunately, a lot of financial help as far as providing stipends for coaches is not there. So as we grow, we have to also grow with our coaching positions as well, and we're working on that. Team commitment, dedication, mental toughness, huge areas. We want the coaches are continuing to work on sharing athletes. It's a problem. When I got here 6 years ago, we had fighting for one sport over the other. We're continuing to work on that. I think we've made tremendous strides. I still think we do have some issues, but as I stand here today, I think we're better off where we were 6 years ago. So we're continuing to work on the multiple sport and sharing of athletes, and we talked about multiple participation earlier. And that includes, even when we do the summer works with the camps and clinics, we don't want to try to pull our student athletes in every direction. So we're continuing to work on that, and hopefully it's been better. Our number one motto is student first, athlete second. In your packet, there was a sheet about homework help sessions. They occur Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 3 to 4. We really don't want a student athlete to miss practice to go to a homework help session. But if it's meaningful and they need to be there, we'll make arrangements for it to happen. What we don't like is a student athlete that procrastinated and had a project due for 3 months, and then they come to the coach and say, I got to miss practice to go to the homework health session because they got to finish a project that they've had 3 months to finish. But we will work with that, with the student athlete the best we can. And that's in there, so you know that. So if your student comes home and says they're struggling, and we can't hook them up with another student to help or a tutor, you have the opportunity to go to help in the library, and it explains it in your packet. We do want them dedicated to the sport that they're participating in that season. So if you're involved in fall sport, we want them to focus on the fall sport. If they play second or third sport in the winter and spring, and the coaches of those sports have open workouts, we really don't want that athlete to feel pressured that they need to attend. And a lot of times there's a misperception of things like that, but our coaches, again, as I sit here today, are doing a much better job communicating with each other and making sure those kids aren't trying to do too many things in the same season. They can stay focused on the sport they're in. We really want them to be committed to that sport and the teammates. We remind everybody that it's a privilege, it's not a right to play sports. Some athletes may have to make some sacrifices. Obviously in the fall, we start early before school, limits the summer vacation. The winter, we may need to be around the holidays if you're participating in a winter sport. And in the spring, sometimes half will cut spring break. We've kind of changed our direction in what we've done with spring break, where we try to, give at least 5 days off. You may not get the whole spring break off, but we expect them to be there. Our coaches are expected to be there. I'm expected to be in town. We can't really have it both ways. Not many programs I find take a week off in the middle of their season are successful. The mental toughness, we just want to focus on how we can make our student athletes believe they can achieve success on the field and off the field. The old saying, the body achieves what the mind believes. No matter who we are facing, we want to be successful. In front of the packet, we have a little quote, attitude. It speaks to a little bit about what I'm talking about. The third thing is sportsmanship. It's one of the main focuses of the Indiana High School Athletic Association. They want us to be positive and promote positive sportsmanship. And they really give us a lot of opportunities to win some awards that they provide for us. And that's kind of why they do have some sportsmanship awards. We have one in a couple of years in the gym. And that's why we recognize positive sportsmanship at our athletic awards nights. We do it team-wise and individual-wise. Not only do we want our coaches or our athletes to be positive, but we also want the fans to be good sportsmanship. We want you guys and all our fans to support the coaching team in a positive way. Remember, your son or daughters are your biggest role models. After a loss, be careful not to criticize. Try to be positive. I know it hurts. I'm an armchair quarterback, just like a lot of you. And remember, there's no I in team. And that's kind of what we promote with the sportsmanship, but we work on it daily. You'll find some great articles on the website, again, under HQ, sportsmanship A to Z, and is there, and good sports are winners, so you can take a look at that. The last thing I'm going to do before I introduce another individual is highlight a couple things in the handbook that I think are extremely important, that you may have, most of you have signed the form if you're in the fall sport, but you may not have actually read the athletic handbook. The athletic handbook is under forms on the website. It's not under HQ, it's under forms because you have to sign the last page, which a lot of you in the fall already did. There's a couple things I want to highlight. The first thing is return to participation. Please keep in mind this is an Indiana High School Athletic Association League rule. It's put in to protect your son or daughter, and it's basically about missing days of practice. If you miss 5 to 10 days of practice, okay, you're going to have 4 straight days of practice before you return to a game. If you miss more than 10 days of practice, you're going to have 6 straight days of practice before you return to the game. Those practices need to include participating in events that are game-like situations. So if you break your leg and you miss half the basketball season and you want to play the day the doctor releases you for full participation, and all you've been doing is sitting on the free throw line shooting free throws every day, that's not practice. So you would still have to go, and you miss more than 10 days, you still have to go 6 days of practice when you're released in order to participate. We really don't see a lot of student athletes get involved in this situation unless they're out long-term with broken bones or concussions or things like that. But I want to make you aware of it. There's a rule. It's in place. It's to protect your son or daughter. And some people, think as soon as they come back, they're ready to go. And we have to keep that in mind. The other thing that I want to mention in the handbook is the substance abuse policy. Alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. We also have lookalikes like spice. It is in there. It is in our policy. First-time offense is 50%. Our students will miss 50% of the season, and they will attend an 8-act class. It's an alcohol, drug education course. It's on Saturday. It costs your son or daughter $100 to go. They go for the first 3 hours. There's an hour lunch break, and then you must attend the second 2 hours with them before it's over. That's the first offense. Second offense is 365 days from athletic events. And the third offense is you're gone. Everybody says, why don't you have zero tolerance? Well, zero tolerance in my 20 years doesn't work. It's not the best thing, and I'll tell you why. Because you throw the kid right back on the street after he quits the game. I'd rather have him sit on the bench, understand what he did was wrong, and have that adult as the coach watch over them and supervise over them, and they can learn from that experience. So when that college coach calls me and says, why did the kid miss half his junior year? And I say, coach, you made one of those poor decisions. But you know what happened? It made him a better person. When he graduated here, he really knows the difference between right and wrong. I think you're getting a good kid. I would take this kid. And that's why we do what we do as far as that goes. I mention this to you, and I caution you, because a lot of times I talk about this, and the parents and audience, if I have a student athlete get in trouble, the parent says, I don't remember this, I don't know this, I never thought my kid was ever going to get involved. I just didn't think he was one of those kids. And in my experience, I'm telling you, it's happened with student athletes that have straight A's, it happens with student athletes that are struggling in school. It doesn't matter. All types of kids get involved, unfortunately, in making poor decisions when it results from alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. And we do our best as coaches and athletic directors to make sure they understand that not only what their decisions they're making are impacting them, but they're impacting their entire team and the entire program and their family and their parents and their community. But kids are kids, and you guys were there some days and we were there too. So let's learn from the experience. If unfortunately they get involved, and hopefully nobody gets hurt, and let's be a better person for it, and that's kind of the approach we take. The other thing is we have cell phone policy in the handbook. We try not to use cell phones, and we're not allowed to use cell phones in the locker room. Whether cell phones are used on the bus, things like that, that all is, again, in the individual sports program at practice, and your coaches will do those in their meetings later. But in the locker rooms, we try to stay away from using cell phones. MySpace, Facebook, social network, please be monitoring the social media sites that your son or daughters are on. It impacts their entire future. We now know for a fact that colleges and universities are going to Facebook sites and going to different sites to determine the character of the student, to determine whether we're going to admit them into their university. We know employers are now doing that. They don't want to go see students that have graduated college with beers in their hands, with all sorts of stuff going on. That's not the type of person, or every word on their site is a cuss word or something like that. They don't want to see that. So please try to monitor, explain that. The hardest thing, even my own stepdaughter, to explain to her, if they don't see the impact tomorrow for what they've done, they don't feel it's going to hurt them. And that's hard to explain. You can tell somebody, we need to put a stoplight at the corner, because if we don't have the stoplight up, somebody's going to get killed. Well, what is it? It doesn't happen. It takes somebody getting killed before the stoplight gets up. We can tell somebody smoking is going to kill them, but if they don't die tomorrow, what's the impact? So it's very difficult for our student athletes today to understand that. And I know you work as parents on hard explaining that, and I appreciate you doing that. So please monitor the social sites as much as you can. I will tell you, nothing is safe. Everything that we do on the computers here that they have, we can bring back and pull up. Emails, I've been involved in lawsuits where they've gone in and given us all the information from computers that were deleted, supposedly, and everything, and you see it on the news. So nothing is deleted, and just keep that in mind. Additional handbook information, eligibility, I'm not going to go over, but it's in there. the awards and lettering policy, which is a minimum, your coaches will go over that in their meetings. Violation of our normal school rules with our Saturday school and Friday school, things are in their attendance policy. Transportation, there is one thing I want to mention about transportation, is that we expect your son or daughter to be on the bus at all times when they're going to away games or whenever the coaches are taking trips. We do understand that there are some exceptions. There may be some things that come up where you need to take your son and daughter from the event, and the coach is going to allow you to do that. The way we need to do that, or the way we need to handle that, is work through the coach first. Once you have approval from the coach, you need to send me an email. I need to have an email. And please don't wait till the last minute. I need it in writing, so if something should happen when you pick up your son or daughter at an event, then we know we have something in writing that gave permission for that to occur. And hopefully nothing will happen. We won't release kids to go with other kids. We've seen that happen a lot. You know, their best friend comes to watch the game, and then they don't want to go home on the bus, they want to go home with the best friend. That doesn't happen. Okay, but in certain situations, we will release them to go home with their parent. Please keep in mind, that bus ride home is a coachable opportunity. So we want the kids on the bus as much as possible on the way home, because that coach may use that time to discuss what took place in the game or the event. And we don't want your son or daughter to miss it. So again, we will honor that if need be, and we have certain situations we've done in the past. Make arrangements ahead of time, but keep that in mind. That's the only thing about transportation. And then there's a section in the handbook about frequent questions. Is Mr. Farrell here? Okay, yeah, come on, as he works his way up. We've been real fortunate, if you haven't seen it yet, in the renovation to have a new weight room facility. And with that new weight room, Mr. Dave Farrell has, is exciting because he's coming to work with us as a strength and conditioning coordinator. And I'll let him talk to you a little bit about his responsibilities, his duties, and what he's doing to help our student athletes, whether they're in season or out of season. And just to let you know, he will be in that new weight room from 9:15 to 5:15, 9:15 a.m. to 5:15 p.m. And the number one question you're going to have is, when's it going to open to the public? So, unfortunately, I'm here to tell you it's not going to open to the public, at least not for a while, and maybe never. It was built as a part of our, for our students to use as part of their teaching in classes, whether it's weight training or PE class, and for our student athletes. There's other things or other opportunities that our community can use, Anytime Fitness, the Y. But as of right now, it's not going to open to the public. And that may change in a year or so, I don't know. But right now, we're focusing on the well-being of our student athletes. But this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Farrell.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me here tonight. As I look at the strength and conditioning program here in Lebanon, I really want to boil this down to three main goals for what we're trying to provide for your athlete. Number one, we want to provide a safe environment. And that safe environment is not just the facility, and if you haven't been down, by the way, it's fabulous. And as a DePaul grad, I can tell you that it's about 2 times the size of Wabash's weight room. It's awesome. You need to get down there on parent night if you can come over on Thursday and take a look at it. It is state of the art from top to bottom. So safety is the number one thing, and safety from a number of different aspects. Whether it's your athlete that is returning from injury, and we want to get them back on the court as soon as possible, yet as safely as possible, or just in terms of facility and the equipment that's down there, we want to make sure it's a safe environment. Second thing I think we want to provide is to make sure that what our coaches are doing is research-based, and based on science, based on data, and in that regard, I'm sitting, when I walked in, I sat down next to Rich Mount. Rich has been with the basketball program for years, and his athletes have come out bigger, stronger, and perform better on the court as a result. So my goal isn't to come in and change what Rich Mount is doing. My goal is to come in and make sure that when his athlete comes in, they look at the data that I'm able to provide for them and say, here's how much I jumped farther, or jumped higher, or ran faster, or whatever it may be. So that's the second aspect that I hope to provide. Third is I really want to serve as a research base for you and your athlete. When you have questions and you're not sure what your coaches are providing in terms of strength and training and conditioning, you can come to me, ask me those questions, and I'll help provide some answers for you. Because one thing that I've been granted during the day is some time to do that research, to make a call to Purdue and talk to the strength and training coach, or work with the IU health professionals that have been provided with, we've been provided with recently. So again, take advantage of the fact that I'm here. Let your athlete know that in order to succeed in high school sports, they're going to have to be in the weight room. Lots of our athletes don't want to say, "Ooh, I can't wait to go do some squats. I can't wait for me to not even have the ability to barely walk tomorrow." That's not what squats are about. You know, in coaching basketball, our girls for days would die over the fact that we'd have to get down in this stance and do defensive slides. And I'd always ask them why it hurt the way it hurt. And the answer is because they didn't use it all summer. They never got in that stance. And so when they do squats, when they do bench press, when they do some of those core lifts that are so important, they are going to hurt for a couple days, but it's really important that they get in there in order to produce more results for our sports teams and in order to reduce injuries. That's the main thing. We want to keep our athletes safe. So in that light, Phil, thanks for having me here tonight. And again, call me here at the high school or email me if you have questions. I'm happy to work with your athletes over the course of the next year and with Phil in the athletic department.
Thanks, Dave. As I said, two more quick things, and I'm going to kind of turn the tables onto you as parents now. You know, we've talked about our coaches, talked a little bit about our student athletes, and now I want to talk about the parent expectations. And I want to do this in a way where I'm using the article that is in the back of your packet. It's basically the 8 personalities, 8 different types of parents, and I can tell you that I've dealt with probably all 8 of these in my 20 years. And I want you to think about this as I quickly go through this. It should only take a few seconds here. Where do you fit in as a parent? Hopefully, it's in the role of the model parent, but let's see if you fit in. I've dealt with helicopter parents, parents who hover around and smother their son or daughter, parents who want to be the first ones involved when a program surfaces. We talked about this before. They don't allow their students to face adversity and deal with it. The dry cleaner parent, that's the parents that are not confrontational, but they lack involvement. They create a completely different set of challenges for coaches. They lack attendance, probably not here tonight. These are the parents that drop their son or daughter off, they pick them up. They have no worries because they feel their coach is just a babysitter. The karaoke parent, opposite of a dry cleaner, a parent that aspires to be exactly like their son or daughter. They are driven to their son or daughter's friends rather than being a parent. As a result, they have fewer rules and occasionally create problems by permitting the student athlete to go break rules put in place by the coach. The volcano parent, those parents are most likely to erupt at any time. Tempers escalate over the small situations ranging anywhere from playtime to officiating. We have the commando parent, similar to the volcano parent, but more likely to be confrontational, get in the coach's faces. They ignore the 24-hour rule. They wait outside practice to engage the coach. The groupie parent, son or daughter's #1 fan, opposite the dry cleaner. As long as they treat their son or daughter well, they will be fine and will gladly help out the program succeed. Sometimes they have different views than coaches of their son or daughter. As soon as something does not go well, their enthusiasm runs out. Generation X parent, very common because more and more parents are connected through technology. The parents use social media to learn as much about their child, their program, the sport, and any other information available. And as a result, they become the parent that they feel like knows it all. And they can second guess coaches. And they have ammunition to scream at referees or stands from the stands when the call doesn't go their way. And finally, we have a we parent. Parents that live vicariously through their son or daughter when the student athlete wins the MVP award or helps their team to a championship victory. They will proclaim, "We won, not the team or my son or my daughter." You know, that's a real pet peeve of mine. When you listen to NFL professional games or basketball games and you hear the announcers on the radio, they say, and they're from the local town, they say, we. I'm like, when did you run that play? I mean, what did you have to do that was a touchdown? You know, it's the Colts, you know, the Pacers. They worked hard, that individual. So that kind of goes along with the we. I listen and I laugh all the time when I hear that, because one of my other degrees is in communication and broadcasting, and that's what we're taught. It's not you that made the play, it's them. So think about that, those 8 personalities, think if you fit in. Also in your letter, I included a letter that Cardinals manager Mike Matheny wrote to the parents. I'm not going to read that to you or talk to you about it, but I think it's one of the best letters ever written to parents by a coach. And he's writing it to Little League parents, but the information that's in that letter does pertain to high school parents as well, and I think it's pertinent to what I was talking about. So what do we want? We want the model parent, the one who supports the program, their son or daughter in a healthy manner. And it's kind of why we had this meeting tonight, to make sure we establish rules, expectations, and we're all on the same page, and everybody understands the process and how things work. So I ask as a parent that you volunteer, and we're going to talk about that in 1 second. Be positive, control your emotions. Remember, making mistakes is part of learning. Respect the officials. I know we get some bad officials sometimes, but the breaks are going to go our way at some point. Focus on fun and participating rather than winning at all costs. Learn the rules of your son or daughter's sport. It's one thing that another pet peeve of mine is we got a parent screaming out and they don't know the rule. The ref is right, but they don't understand the rule. Show interest, which most of you have taken the first step because you're here this evening, and be an outstanding role model. The National Federation has on their website, and you can just go to nfhs.com and click on the link. If you're interested, you can take it. It's a free course online, the role of the parent in sports. Basically, the same information I just gave you is in that program, but it's a video, and you're welcome to watch that. I'm pretty much done, but I have one important thing, and I'm going to invite somebody up here to speak, and I'll close it out. But I do want to say this last thing, that I would like for you guys to get involved by joining our Athletic Booster Association. Most of you are aware of the financial times. We're struggling. But over the years, we've been able to meet the needs of our student athletes with the support of you in our booster organization, working for a booster organization. Some of you may not be aware, our corporation provides us with coaching stipends, transportation, and some field facility maintenance. Great that they're able to get the weight room built as part of the renovation plan, but athletics pays for paint, to paint the fields. They pay for some dirt. We pay for maintenance of our fields up there. We pay for sometimes goals for soccer, bleachers, things like that. It doesn't all come from the school corporation. We're very fortunate here. We've not gone to pay to play, and we haven't had to eliminate any athletic events or our coaches. When you look around you and hear all the horror stories from other school corporations, we are very fortunate. The only revenue we receive is from booster organization and from our gate receipts. I encourage you to purchase an all-sport pass. It's $5 for all varsity events, $4 for the JV events. I guarantee if you're going to come to more events throughout the year than just one sport season, it'll be well worth it. And to me, I'd rather have you pay to come in because I know I'm going to make more money if you pay $5 every time you come in. So please, the last page has our breakdown, and I won't I'll let Sherry speak about a little bit more about that. We need your support. We need you to help us outfit equipment, uniforms, maintenance, transportation, all those kind of things I mentioned. I would like to take a minute, and like I said, when she's done, I'll close it out with 30 seconds to introduce our new booster president, Sherry Goodwin. And I know she has a few words for you. So, Sherry, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you and welcome. I just want to take a moment to introduce myself to you as well as the other officers of the Boosters Association this year. I am Sherry Goodwin. I'm a lifelong resident of Lebanon and went to school here, graduated here many moons ago. Had the pleasure back in the late 70s when Sports Boosters first started. My father was one of the organizers of Sports Boosters, so I have a long history of supporting athletics and our students in our corporation. My vice president this year is Angie Coddington. If you gals are in the audience, if you'd stand and wave, I'd like to recognize you. The secretary is Sharon Renfro, and the treasurer is Jennifer Rice. So these ladies will be putting in a lot of time and hours along with me to support your students as athletes through the corporation. We are strictly a volunteer-driven organization. And what we do in addition to fundraising is to support the coaches in their needs. Every team in the school corporation at the high school has a parent representative. At this point, all the teams aren't filled, so if you have any interest in being a parent representative for your sport, your son or daughter's sport, contact their coach, because I'm sure they would love to have you as a member of the organization. We meet monthly. The dates are in the packet of the information that you've received tonight. The meetings are open to the public. We try to keep the meetings at an hour. Basically, we go through the financials. We talk about upcoming events where volunteers are needed. It may be selling 50-50 tickets at one ball game. You may be asked to do that, and I hope you'll step up to the plate when you realize you maybe give 2 hours out of an entire season to help us support the boosters and raise some funds. The meetings, again, are open to the public. You're welcome to come. You're welcome to be as involved as you'd like, but we hope that you'll be very involved. As I said, our funds are strictly generated through membership and sponsorship. All that is in your packet. Please take an opportunity to review it. Please join as a member. It is a cost savings to you in the long run when it helps you with your admission, as Mr. Levine said. We also, at the end of the year, also provide 2 scholarships, $500 scholarship to an outstanding athlete, male and female each. However, for your student to be qualified for that, and this is the clincher, you've got to be a Sports Booster member. And we have had so many athletes not qualify to even be considered for that scholarship opportunity because they weren't a Sports Boosters member. So your student can join as a member individually, you can join as a family, you can join as a corporate sponsor. There's many opportunities out there for your review. How to reach me. I'm working on setting up an email address that will be separate from my work email address, and I'll get that to Karen and Phil as soon as I get arranged, and they can publish that. You can always go to the boosters page on the athletic website and reach out that way. Feel free to call me with questions. This is my first year as an officer. There's a lot I have to learn, but I know that together we can do this. And I just want to give another solid thank you to Phil and Karen. They truthfully were 2 of the driving forces when I decided to step up and take this position, because I know how many hours they put in, and I know that their requests to me are going to be genuine, and they're going to have all the information that I need to make this Boosters event successful. So please thank them for their countless hours, and we certainly couldn't have the programs that we have here at Lebanon without their support.
Thanks, Sharon. We appreciate it. And if there's some things, you have a business or something that you want to advertise, there's opportunities to get on the website. You see some businesses on the website, things like that, and you want to talk more, feel free to contact Sherry or myself, and we can get you involved in those bigger corporate sponsors. We do have some things we're looking at down the road, where if you have a tremendous amount of funds you'd like to donate, then I'd be happy to sit down and work with you and talk to you about that in person. I do want to thank you. I know we went a little bit long this evening, but I appreciate you coming this evening. I look forward to a great year. We got a lot of awesome things happening, not only academically with the computers and what's going on in the classroom, but with our facilities. And we're not done yet, because we're even going to be doing some more surprises coming down the road in a year or 2 with our facilities. But hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to each and every one of you at an event, and have a great year. Tiger Pride.